Hi everyone, welcome to QA Junction Playwright Automation Learning Video 6. In this video, we are going to learn how to automate the checkboxes, radio buttons, and static dropdowns. So it's been a common thing that developers are including the checkboxes, radio buttons, and dropdowns in the web pages. So learning this will be a great useful for us. So let's do that. So we are going to navigate in this web page, and there we will perform the automation testing on radio buttons, checkbox, and dropdown. Let me tell you the requirement of test case. We will select this radio button of mail, and we will select these both checkboxes, and then we will uncheck this checkbox, and then from this drop down we are going to select database testing. So this is our requirement. So let's begin. So first thing we are going to write is require @playwright/test. So it is prerequisite for our every test case before performing. So store it in a constant test, expect. Expect will help us to write down the assertions, and test is used for writing test cases. Now I am going to write test, and the title for the test: automating the radio buttons, checkboxes, and static dropdowns. And async, open braces, and curly braces. Inside curly braces you can write page or browser, depend upon your requirement. But my requirement is to perform the automation testing in only this single page. As I already told you in last lecture, that page helps us to access the single page, whereas browser has different browser contexts, so it will provide the access for different windows, I mean the child windows, whereas page has only access for one window, one page. So that's the reason I am using page here. And queue function. Alright, in this, first thing we are going to do is we will navigate to that URL, right? We will open the URL in Chrome. Await page.goto, paste the URL here, and the next step we are going to perform is selecting mail radio button. I am writing in the comments so that it can be readable for you. So what we will do to select the radio button, so we need to inspect the radio button, and we need to write the CSS locator for it. So it is highlighting this HTML property. So we also have ID. That means we can write shortcut for ID hash, and ID value is mail. You see, copy it and write it down in your Playwright. Await page.locator, and we are going to perform click action. And next thing, we are going to check the both checkboxes. Checkboxes names are automation and performance. So await page.locator, just inspect the checkbox, and you can write the CSS for that. So in these HTML properties we have class. So we can write a shortcut for class as well, right? So we need to write tag name, which is input, dot class name, which is automation, right? The class has its value which we wrote, and tag name is their input, input dot class value. Copy it and paste it here and perform click action. So we need to also check this one, right? So inspect on that, and this time it is performance. Just replace the automation with performance. So we gave input as tag name and class value here. So tag name dot class value. Copy it and perform click action. So you would be clear on how to generate your own XPaths and CSS, right? If not, please watch the last lecture. So let's move forward. We also selected both checkboxes, and we are going to uncheck the second checkbox, right? So write it down, the same thing. So if you also click here, let me just, so if you also click, it will uncheck, but I can also show you the one more method, which is uncheck. We have the method called uncheck that will help us to uncheck the checkboxes, and then we are going to perform the static drop down. What we are going to select? Database testing. We are going to select it from the drop down. So just inspect it, and static drop downs always starts with the select tag. So this you can see select tag. So static drop downs always start with the select tag. So we do have two different types of drop downs. One is static and one is dynamic. In this video we are going to learn about static drop downs, and in upcoming lecture I am going to have a separate lecture on this dynamic drop down, because handling this is a bit difficult and we need one full lecture for this. So in this lecture we are going to only handle static drop down, and it is very famous because every website has the static drop downs to select, and static drop downs start with the tag name select. So you see, this is the HTML property for this drop down. So we also have ID. That means we can write the CSS in shortcut, which means slash, hash, and the ID value. That's it. So just write it down. Page.locator. So I am going to store this in one constant, let's say drop down, because writing the lengthy step will not look good. So that's the reason I am saving this locator in this drop down. We give constant here, and then drop down dot, we have a method called select option, and there we are going to select this database testing from the drop down. We are going to select this last one. Just write it down. So we just completed writing our test case. Let's execute it. npx playwright test. You already know the command how to execute your individual test cases, right? Because we have not gave await. Now it will pass. So writing await is the major thing. Let us re-execute it, and this time it will pass. And when you open this report, you will see the detailed report. Let's check that. So you see it is selected the option from the drop down, it is unchecked, and everything what we did. It is so fast, right? Let me show you in slow motion. So I will keep page.pause in between. So let me keep here await page.pause, because we are selecting two checkboxes and then later we are unchecking this. So I am also keeping await page.pause. Let's see. So it will wait after 12th step. Let's check. It will also show the code in our Playwright inspector. So it will open the Playwright inspector if we give await page.pause in between the test code. So it already performed few tests, like it selected this mail radio button and it also selected both these checkboxes. And now if I click forward, it will uncheck the second checkbox. You can see visually. So it's unchecked, and then it will move to the drop down, and from drop down it will select database testing. You can see, right? So that's the reason I kept page.pause here. Now I am going to resume. Everything is passed. So this is the way to handle radio buttons, checkboxes, and static dropdowns. So you can also add validations. So for radio buttons, there is a validation called expect. Before writing any step, you need to write await, then expect. Just copy this page dot locator, and here we can say, so we can say here to be checked. If it is checked, then it should validate this assertion saying it should be compulsory checked. If it is unchecked, then it will be fail here. The test case will be failed here. This is one kind of validation, so you can use it for anything. And if you want to print the output in order of true or false, so if this is checked, so you can also write the validation where the output will be shown in the form of true or false. If it is selected, then it will show the output called true. If it is unselected, it will show as false. So let's check that. Wait, just copy this. So I am removing this and giving is checked. So if you want to print the output, you need to write console.log, right? This is one kind of validation. So let's execute. So I am directly resuming it. You see, test case got pass, and you can also see here it is true because we gave that the assertion and we printed it in output. We can give two types of assertions. One is to print the output in the form of true or false, and one is also to validate in the code level. So if it is checked, then we need to write to be checked. So that's pretty much about assertions. So I hope you understand this lecture. So keep practicing. Thank you.